Chapter 51. Yasmeen. Yasmeen hurriedly made her way into the complex and saw one of the low-ranking soldiers standing guard at the entrance. This was exactly what she needed. The guards all knew her and would let her pass without hesitation. As a lower-ranked soldier, this guard wouldn't have access to Malcolm's personal instructions. He would receive orders from his superior, who would, in turn, receive his own instructions from an even higher authority. It was a chain of commands that extended upward, like a line of falling dominoes. She approached the entrance with confidence, but inside, her stomach churned with fear. Failure was not an option. "Hello, sister." The soldier's face lit up at the sight of her. He didn't seem bothered by her sudden appearance, which was exactly what Yasmeen had hoped for. She knew Malcolm all too well. He would never want to disturb his carefully crafted image as the leader and brother of their community. Revealing that Yasmeen, their prized human incubator, was missing, could shatter his control and adoration among his followers. He was smarter than that. He knew that without their loyalty, he was just another insignificant little man. "Brother?" Yasmeen avoided his gaze as she responded. He stepped aside, and she walked through the metal gates of the complex with confidence and poise. As soon as she was out of sight, she quickened her pace. Menstrual cramps started to bother her in her lower abdomen, but she ignored the pain. She knew that if everything went according to plan, she would have a lifetime to heal. But if not, it wouldn't matter because she would be dead. She strode straight into the building, her senses on high alert as she braced herself for the unknown. It had been days since she had left in search of Hayden, and she couldn't shake the feeling of dread mixed with fear. The sound of her footsteps echoed through the empty hallway, accompanied by the faint hum from the fluorescent lights and distant chatter. Yasmeen's eyes darted around, taking in every detail, the sleek white walls and polished floors, and the shining metal doors that lined the corridor. Her heart raced as she wondered what awaited her at the end of this journey. "Malcolm must be going insane," she thought. She looked around, afraid for the first time since she concocted this horrible idea. The full impact of what she had done and what she carried in the bag hitting her with full force. Malcolm would have her killed, of course. She had done the unthinkable. The future heir destroyed. She fought back the tightness in her throat. There was no point in regrets now. It was over, and she couldn't turn back the clock. Besides, she didn't want to. Maybe one day, in the safety of another world, one where the decree no longer existed, maybe then she could be the mother she had hoped. Her hand flew to her mouth, and she bit her knuckles. Tears formed in her dark eyes, and she quickly wiped them away and picked up her pace, determined to reach Malcolm's rooms without being noticed. Pressing herself against the wall, she tried to blend in with the surroundings. The complex appeared deserted, which was strange at this time of day. But as she turned the corner, she collided with Amanda.
"Yasmeen, I haven't seen you in days!"
Her face lit up as she greeted her. Yasmeen forced a fake smile in response.
"How's the baby coming along?"
The fool beamed, reaching out to touch Yasmeen's deflating belly. With a sharp movement, she stopped Amanda's hand in its tracks, causing her to jump with surprise at the suddenness of the action.
"Fine,"
Yasmeen barked, her hand trembling from her physical response towards Amanda. She didn't like Amanda. Just another puppet manipulated and brainwashed by Malcolm's false words. But she also didn't want to piss her off and go crying to Tabitha, or worse, Malcolm. She thought of all she'd done to Leah, and how she still held Yasmeen's hand and wiped her brow during the darkest time of her life. This idiot before her would never do that for her, let alone Leah. A traitor. That's what Amanda was. A traitor who'd turn against her friend just to belong. She disgusted Yasmeen. "Malcolm needs me at the moment," she lied, unable to stomach Amanda any longer. "Don't want to leave him waiting." Yasmeen avoided looking at Amanda's silly, glazed face. She didn't miss the company here at the Decree one bit. They were all zombies, incapable of original thought. Every single one of them, with their stunned facial expressions they all shared. Amanda being one of the worst. Amanda's face twisted with confusion as she asked, "Oh?" She continued.
I'm heading to the garden. Malcolm has summoned all the top-ranking officers and their families for a meeting.
With her arms folded tightly over her protruding stomach, Amanda raised an eyebrow inquisitively.
Yes,
Yasmeen replied, her face blank, sensing Amanda's hostility towards her and cursing herself for smacking her hand away. This was strange. It was like a veil lowered and the real Amanda was being exposed to Yasmeen for the first time. Was Amanda more aware of what was going on than she thought? Yasmeen stood tall, blood rushing to her face, the fear clawing up her chest and neck, wanting to choke her, bit by bit, until there was no air left for her to breathe.
That's why I'm rushing. Malcolm wants to speak with me before the gathering. I don't understand why it concerns you, Amanda. Your interrogation is rather distressing. I am the chosen one. It's not your place to question my actions.
Amanda's cheeks turned red, her previous smug expression quickly fading. Yasmeen flashed a condescending smile, clutching her leather satchel tightly to her side as she felt the weight of its contents and the increasing anxiety settling in her chest.
Now, if you'll excuse me,
Yasmeen said, pushing past the humbled Amanda.
Our leader awaits. Of course, I apologize,
Amanda stumbled, moving out of the way.
I meant nothing.
Yasmeen paid no attention to her as she walked away. Let her stew in her own juices, she thought. Let Amanda worry about what Yasmeen would say to Malcolm, or worse, Ben. She could almost feel Amanda's anxiety growing behind her. Serves her right, Yasmeen thought. What had Amanda sacrificed, besides the betrayal of her friend? Yasmeen owed her nothing. She hurried down the hall towards Malcolm's rooms. She thought of Leah and little Adam and closed her eyes, trying to block out their images. Was Yasmeen any different from Amanda? She resisted the urge to glance back at her, fearful of seeing her own expression mirrored on the other woman's face. She focused on the information Amanda had given her and quickened her steps. If Amanda was correct, and a meeting was taking place, Malcolm and Tabitha would likely be occupied elsewhere with Ben and the rest of the Decree leadership, preparing for his upcoming speech. She made her way to Malcolm's quarters and was relieved to find no guards stationed outside. Whatever the meeting was about, it had to be important. She took a deep breath before entering, scanning the room. It appeared to be empty. Letting out a sigh of relief, she closed the door behind her.